So now we are seeing Texas officials blame the National Weather Service for their fault in not evacuating that campsite on time. They're trying to say that the National Weather Service did not predict accurately how much rain was going to fall. Meanwhile, the area that was flooded in Kerrville, which was Camp Mystic, is the most dangerous area in Texas for mass flash flooding. Now, I live in the state of Texas, and as of Thursday, 1 o'clock in the morning, July 4th, I was receiving flash flood alerts. Yes, there were multiple warnings that were issued for the Camp Mystic area in Kerr County, Texas, including flash flood warnings. The warnings, which escalated in intensity throughout the evening, were issued by the National Weather Service. Despite the warnings, the severity of the flooding, which included a rapid rise of the Guadalupe River, caught many by surprise. This is the original flash flood warning that was issued to everyone in Central Texas. The National Weather Service issued several flash flood warnings, with the final one at 2:03 a.m. being particularly urgent, stating that this is a particularly dangerous situation. Seek higher ground now. And here you have the judge of Kerr County stating that even though they are used to getting floods, they were not predicting that this flood would be as catastrophic as it was. He just admitted his failure because he says that this area, we're always getting floods, but not to that extent. Had he had listened to the National Weather Service, he would have been able to evacuate those RV sites, including Camp Mystic. Those girls and everyone who was unalive, the 24 that were unalive, would have been saved had they had done their due diligence. But of course, these Republicans that voted for Trump are never going to take accountability. And I hold the blame for Doge and Donald J. Trump's regime for cutting the National Weather Service. They fired 666 workers that worked for the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service has been leading to staffing shortages, their reduced services, potential impacts on the quality of weather forecasts and warnings. These cuts, stemming from the parent organization NOAA, are part of the broader efforts to reduce government spending. The NWS is facing budget cuts, with some projections showing a significant decrease in funding in the fiscal year of 2026. The severe impact to this is reduced staffing and resources are impacting the ability to provide timely and accurate weather information, potentially affecting public safety. So these Republicans in the state of Texas need to put the blame where it needs to be, and that is with Doge and the Donald J. Trump regime.
Well, 24 hours after an absolute complete crash out by moi, I am back on this app only to find out that people are screaming about how we're not supposed to politicize the Texas floods. I'm going to say this with my whole chest, and I'm going to hold your hand while I do it. If this doesn't wake you up to politics, nothing will. Because now it is not a left or right thing anymore. People are dying. If the National Weather Service was still funded and there was someone in the position to get the alert, to alert the... Do you see what I'm saying? Politics is in every choice we make every day. Okay? And if you can't look at 20-something little children plus 60 other dead people from a flood that could, yes, we might have had a few deaths, but it would not have been this catastrophic if Trump would not have laid off the people that he did or offer early retirement and then not fill them. This is the time to be political. You don't have to pick blue. Pick right. Pick someone who's going to make choices for your life. It just happens to be the people who wear blue. If you can't wake up and see that with dead children floating by, you are never going to see it. And if you can't see that we are literally starting to commit in America, we are kidnapping people. We are allowing men to be masked and unidentified to snatch people off the street with no paperwork, with no knowledge of where they're going. And if you're okay with that, then stick to the side you're on and shut all the way the f up and let the big adults do the work, okay? This is time to get political. Children died and they shouldn't have.
So it looks like I have a lot of new followers from the video where I said that Stacia and Jake Hicks were Trump supporters. And I just want to say, if you're following me from that video, you might want to leave, because I am not who you think I am. When I said that, I knew that I'd have MAGA in my comments. I knew they'd be crashing out, throwing a fit, insulting me, attacking me, and that's par for the course for those people. But I also knew that I'd have like just regular old Republicans being like, how dare you? I voted for Trump, but I would never. We're not all like that. And how dare you make this about politics? This isn't about politics. Everyone can be an asshole. And Democrats are assholes too. Have you seen what Democrats are doing? Yes. Yes, I have seen what Democrats are doing. What I said in the video is that there's a particular kind of asshole that marks someone as a Trump supporter. But let me just say, there is also a particular kind of asshole in the U.S. that marks someone as a blue, no matter who, liberal Democrat. And that is all through my comments. And yeah, they're cheering me on and they're congratulating me and they're telling me I'm right and they agree with me. But they are also doing the thing that their particular kind of is doing. They are mocking these people for being poor. They're mocking their accent. They're mocking them for living in a trailer. I don't know if they live in a trailer, but they're calling them trailer trash. They're calling them hicks and hillbillies. And yeah, that's a particular kind of asshole that marks them as this liberal, blue, no matter who Democrat. Yeah. People in the U.S. are assholes. A lot of them. And they're assholes in different categories, and they're pretty easy to spot. As a person who grew up in Appalachia in a trailer and spoke with an accent because I was from that region, but I'm also well educated, it irritates me so much to see these people be so classist and be so elitist. And now they're like, oh, have you not seen them celebrating the death of these children who died in the floods in Texas? I'm not surprised. You saw what happened when they had the floods in Appalachia, right? Like, or they had the ice storms in Texas, and the power outages and people died from that. Like, yeah, that's the sort of people they are, and it marks them. So anyway, now that I've pissed everybody off, have a good day.
So yeah, as I thought, the Trump regime doesn't give a f about the catastrophe in Texas. About 81 people are now confirmed gone. And so what does he say when asked about the reporters about FEMA, that potentially all these programs could have saved lives? He's like, no more FEMA. Meteorologists ever fired? No, don't need them either.
You investigating whether some of the cuts to the federal government left key vacancies at the National Weather Service or the emergency coordination?
No, they did not. They did. I'll tell you, if you look at that water situation that all is, and that was really the Biden setup. That was not our setup.
In light of the floods, do you think that the federal government needs to hire back any of the meteorologists who were fired in the last few months?
I wouldn't know that. I really wouldn't. I would think not.
Yeah, wow. And then you got MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. The very first thing she fucking tweets after lives lost, the first thing she fucking tweets is, we got to pass a bill to prevent weather modification.
I am introducing a bill, Marjorie Taylor Greene writes, that prohibits the injection, release, or dispersion of chemicals or substances into the atmosphere for the express purpose of altering weather, temperature, climate, or sunlight intensity. It will be a felony offense.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm seeing the Republicans, especially MAGA, pushing this fucking weather modification bullshit as a way to deflect from the actual fucking cause, being the capitalist system that is just devouring Mother Earth at the expense, at the cost, the consequences of absolute chaos. You know, it's clear as day. The weather, the air is its own system, just like the water, right? So if you think anyone in the world wouldn't dare drink any body of water near any city or town or anything because it's full of So is the air. If you're not going to drink any body of water, what do you think is in the fucking air fucking with our atmosphere? And they're saying, oh, we got to stop all these chemicals and aerosols being put in the fucking atmosphere. Oh, really? You mean pumped out by all the corporations and humans that just consume the capitalist products that are absolutely toxic and poisonous to everything in the name of profits? So, of course, they're going to blame it on weather modification. And if they have to defund or get rid of them, wait, how's that possible? So now MAGA is in charge of the U.S. government, but yet somehow there's still secret groups doing fucking climate modification, weather modification under the nose of Trump and MTG. They don't know about this. There's somehow billions of dollars being spent on weather modification. So they're unaware, but they got to stop it. MAGA's got to stop this weather modification. Wow. Okay, so that's where what kind of leadership we have. 80 people died. And the very first thing our leaders say is, no, we're not going to bring back the stuff that could have saved their lives. And, oh, it's fucking weather modification, goddamn people. Oh, my God.
People of Texas need not worry because the president sends his sympathies while he's golfing. The vice president said he's thinking of you guys. He's praying. You're in his prayers. Ted Cruz said, just have faith and it will be okay. So they really got to plan, you guys. It's all going to be okay. You're going to get through it, except for the 70 plus people who have already lost their lives. But don't worry. You're in their thoughts and prayers. And that should be good enough for you.
I am so goddamn sick of thoughts and prayers, especially when there were tangible things you could have done to prevent these tragedies. But hey, that's your modern conservative Christian. We'd rather save a little bit of money than save lives.
You know, it's a shame all those babies in Texas from the flooding could have been prevented. But unfortunately, probably majority of those babies' parents voted for incompetence. They literally have no services. They dismantled, right? All the people that was cheering for Doge, cut government spending, cut government responsibility is what y'all should have been saying. That's what they were doing. They were gutting government responsibility. So now you got to fend for yourselves. You got to find people hanging up on trees for 4 days, you know, trying to survive this. A grown woman, 2 little girls miraculously were like 30 feet in the air holding on to a tree from that camp. Camp Mystic. Racism is expensive. It's been expensive. It just hasn't been directly where you could see it in flashing neon lights. And now, not only does it have neon lights, it has sound. And the sound of crying parents and family members, because it wasn't just babies that lost their lives. I saw 2 stories of really good men from what they shared, sacrificing themselves to try to protect their families. All people want is decency, and y'all are cheering for people to be irresponsible. And Mike Johnson on Fox News talking about something, we gonna pray for y'all. That's all they want to be held accountable for. Sending you a prayer. Could be me. That's crazy. Y'all voted for that.
You know, I try my hardest to comprehend the incompetence of MAGA. There has been this tragedy that has unfolded in Texas regarding flooding. And none of us that have been paying attention to these climate scientists are shocked. They have told us these storms are going to get stronger. They're going to become more unpredictable. We will not be able to control them. It is a bigger threat to our national security than any foreign body. This is what we've been told. But Republicans have claimed hoax, fake all over. And now they have taken the opportunity during this tragedy to push their evil and their maniacal propaganda, saying that what has taken place in Texas because the river rose incredibly high in such a short amount of time has proved that somehow the weather has been controlled by the government. Now, first, let's pause there. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the House, in the Senate, at the White House, and the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, do they not control it all? You have some officials in Texas that are trying to say that, well, if the National Weather Service had given us accurate reporting, then this would not have happened. The party that they align themselves with have cut funds to these places. The level of just pure ignorance is deeply offensive. And then you have someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene that is going to introduce a bill that prevents us from putting things up into the sky that will change the weather. They don't want us to heat up the sun. They don't want us putting chemicals out so that it rains and it does all of these crazy things that they say we're doing to the weather system. Rather than listen to the climate scientists who told us that our carbon emissions and the pollution that we are doing on this earth and the greenhouse gases that we are releasing and the things that we're putting on the ground so that the cows will eat and make their gases toxic. They don't want to hear that. They want to continue to float conspiracy. Rather than address the real issues, they come up with solutions that are in search of problems. This is the slowest period in the history of mankind. It is. These people are disgusting. They're disgusting. And I'm over them.
These floods in Texas are a terrible thing. But now you got Kristi Noem, another MAGA moron on TV Live, trying to pass the buck and blaming all this shit on something or someone or some organization like the National Weather Service. They didn't give us enough time. They didn't notify us of these floodwaters. The NOAA. Well, the budget was cut, you stupid bitch. $1.4 billion. The budget was cut. And the National Weather Service, no one's even working there. How do you expect to be notified? All these budget cuts, and now you see what's going on. They're passing the buck. FEMA's going bye-bye. Good luck for them to help you. Then you got Greg Abbott sitting there talking about prayer. Well, prayer helped us save some people, and prayer is what we need. What are people going to do with prayers now? What are they going to do with them? They're going to roll them up and shove it up their ass. It's not going to help them. They've lost everything. They lost their houses. They've lost loved ones. People dying. 9 children perished in these floods. And how about Trump? Any president that had any compassion would be on the fucking site right now. I'm here. What could we do? What could the federal government do? How can we help you? How may we help you? Just tell us what we need to do and we'll help you. He's not there. Why? He's playing golf.
So MAGA influencers are saying that the weather is being manipulated, that the weather is fake. And as a Texan who is seeing this weather firsthand, like I'm looking at it right now, and hearing reports of all of the unalivements that are happening because of this weather, because of the flooding, I just have one question. If they're claiming the weather is being manipulated, they're claiming that the weather is fake, and yet we have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, a Republican White House, who is manipulating the weather? I'm just saying. I'm just asking. This is what happens when you don't believe in science. This is what happens when you live in a state of religious psychosis. This is what happens when you defund National Weather Services. FEMA, we told you people would die, and that's exactly what's happening right now. But instead of putting the blame where the blame belongs, MAGists are saying that it's fake. Just like their leader, anytime his lies are exposed, calls it fake news. Are we shocked and surprised at all? No.
So let's get this straight, guys. For months, meteorologists, experts, and media outlets warned that Donald Trump's budget cuts to the National Weather Service were reckless, and that slashing funding and gutting staff would directly hurt their ability to predict severe storms, that it would put lives in danger. And now, right on cue, a deadly flood hits Texas, and state officials are turning around and blaming the Weather Service for inaccurate forecast. I mean, are you kidding me? This is what happens when you hollow out public safety in the name of politics and cruelty. The NWS isn't some luxury. It's not a partisan tool. It's the reason families get warnings in time. It's the reason people evacuate. It's the reason kids make it home from school before the storm hits. But Donald Trump's second term has made it crystal clear. If a program protects people and saves lives but doesn't align with his agenda or help his image, he'll gut it, no matter who it hurts. And then When disaster strikes, just like the experts said it would, they blame the very people that they've undercut. It's scapegoating at its most cowardly. This flood was tragic, but it wasn't just a freak accident of nature, guys. It was a failure of leadership, a predictable consequence of dismantling the very systems designed to keep us safe. If you're more concerned with scoring political points than funding the people who literally track deadly storms for a living, then you are the danger to public safety.
We're supposed to listen to these lawmakers in Texas talk to us about empathy and grief. Ted Cruz today talking about all the people that lost their lives, including children, which is obviously horrible. But do we remember the last time there was a state of emergency in Texas? Ted Cruz decided to go off to Cancun. And then when he was caught, he blamed his kids. Greg Abbott, after the Uvalde school massacre, they hadn't even counted all the bodies in the classroom. And Greg Abbott decided not to cancel a campaign fundraising event. So while he was counting all the money at his campaign event, they hadn't even counted all the bodies in that Uvalde, Texas school classroom and all those poor children. These are the same people that want to talk to us about empathy. These are the same people that want to talk to us about grief. I think not. And Donald Trump is on that list also as the last person. As he was celebrating with his stupid July 4th MAGA dance, there were still dozens of children that were missing in Texas. Not a word from the president.
So by now we've all been keeping up with the flood story coming out of Texas. I believe at last count it was a total of 80 people that lost their lives. Over 20 of them were children. And we're hearing reports now that there will be aid sent to Texas sometime in the near future. But that's not what this post is about. This post is about the fact that when Syphilitic Sid was made aware of the flooding and what had transpired, he instead chose to go golfing. He went golfing anyway. He was advised of what happened, and he still chose to go golfing. Then when he came back from golfing and Marine One landed at the White Hood, reporters met him there and they began to question him about the flood. And he pretended he couldn't hear. He kept saying, "What? I can't hear you. I can't understand you." This is not a real place anymore. Like we knew he didn't care. I believe that there are some people that would call his behavior sociopathic. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I don't know nothing about that. But what I do know is we've lost the plot on this one. And it's not the first disaster that's occurred that he just hasn't given a shit about. But Kerr County is a red, deep red MAGA stronghold of wealthy MAGA people. And he still couldn't even muster anything. I don't know. I don't know.
Let me just say something, okay? If this is what Christians say the Bible tells them, I have never, than in this moment, been more proud to be a goddamn atheist. What do you mean? Dozens of girls were just swept away in a flash flood, caused probably because of programs and services you cut funding to. And your only response is thoughts and prayer. Which, no, is not surprising at all. I probably could have predicted that response down to the word. But I don't ever want to hear these people say they're the pro-life party ever again.
Today, we have breaking news. A Texas pediatrician lost her job after a Facebook post that sparked national outrage. I will show you it in a minute. Dr. Christina B. Probst, who worked at Bluefish Pediatrics, made a now-deleted post under the name Christina. In it, she referred to those killed in the devastating Texas floods, where over 80 people died, including many children, as Trump supporters, saying, "May they get what they voted for." This screenshot of her post went viral after libs of TikTok shared it. Bluefish Pediatrics responded swiftly, first suspending her, then announcing she's been fired. They stated the comments didn't reflect their mission of nonpartisan compassion. The Texas Medical Board hasn't launched an investigation, but condemned the political commentary, underscoring that the focus should remain on rescue efforts and supporting survivors. Dr. Prop's post comes amid a backdrop of catastrophic flooding in central Texas, with over 80 confirmed dead and dozens still missing, including campers from Camp Mystic. Keep your eyes on what is going on, because this has nothing to do with FEMA or the other thing she talked about. There's something else going on here, and we all know it. Be safe.
Congrats, MAGA. You're winning. And death tolls. Trump eliminated the one essential position that would have prevented these mass casualties. It's on him and those who voted for him. A warning coordination meteorologist. They are the ones that serve as the direct link between the forecasters and emergency managers. The last guy they had in that position, Trump pushed into early retirement because, budget cuts. Austin San Antonio office no longer operates 24/7. Weather doesn't take a day off. Texas, by the way, the most FEMA funding year after year after year. Red state. And knew Trump wanted to cut FEMA. Wasn't a secret. Yes, it was an extreme amount of rain, historical amount of rain. Of course, all the offices are going to say that they did nothing wrong, but that key position was missing, is missing. Trump said he doesn't have any plans of making any changes. He doesn't care. Did he ever make a comment about the tornado victims? Nope. It's hurricane season, right? Till November 1st.
My name is Madison Morris, and in this video is for the coward Senator Ted Cruz, who just walked out on reporters in the state of Texas while they were asking him about the cuts to the National Weather Service.
Discussion, but as I said, everything from the public evidence indicates that that was not a contributing factor to what occurred here.
Is it possible to get Dalton in just to talk about that and as well as the National Weather Service alerts, because there were
the overall mentality and operation of MAGA when it comes to accountability, when it comes to answers, especially when it comes to the treatment of children, the party that claims that they are pro-life, the party that will do anything to make sure a birth is forced in this country when it comes to accountability and life loss. MAGA has no other way to operate but to walk away when the going gets tough. To walk away when the answers are just too awful to bear. When the responsibility of children is just wasted on you. This is how MAGA operates. This is how our country is going to run. Individually, personally, federally, this is the MAGA operation. And I am so glad that this is on full display.
Texas pediatrician's flood post claiming MAGA got what they voted for backfires spectacularly. She got fired. She made a post. I think that Daily Mail probably has it. She said, "May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts." It's crude. It's crass. It's brutal. It's mean. But she's a nobody. That's why my initial reaction was, I'm not going to talk about it. That being said, she's been fired, and a bunch of high-profile people are talking about it. So I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about the point of cancel culture, targeting people, but also, I think there is a fair meme in the bigger picture. Liberals would see you die. There was a viral post this weekend where someone said, the right largely will gloat over your suffering. The left hopes you die. That's the distinction and the difference that is exemplified by this Texas pediatrician. But let me read the story for you, and then I'll tell you my views. I know people, you probably don't agree with me. You're probably saying no, she should. But I'll get into it. So comment. Let me know what you think. A Texas pediatrician has been fired after claiming that Trump supporters got what they voted for. Dr. Christina Probst sparked massive backlash after she took to Facebook to share a now deleted message where she appeared to take glee in the floods that have left 82 dead, including at least 28 children. A screenshot of Propst's post was shared on X over the weekend, sparking demands that she be fired and even have her medical license revoked. There is no room in medicine nor in civilized society for this kind of hate, wrote one X user. Patients, save yourselves and your children from Christina Probst. Holy Lord, what a ghoul, said Megyn Kelly. How much hatred must you have in your heart to be posting something like this? The backlash forced Probst's former workplace, Bluefish Pediatrics in Houston, to issue a statement on Saturday night after disavowing her comments. So the flood's been brutal. The practice wrote in a statement, "We are aware that a personal social media comment by one of our physicians has caused significant hurt and outrage. The content and timing of the post do not reflect the values, standards, or mission of Bluefish Pediatrics. We do not," they said, "we want to be clear, we do not support or condone any statement that politicizes tragedy, diminishes human dignity, or fails to clearly uphold compassion for every child and family, regardless of background or belief. Our practice exists for one purpose only, to provide excellent, loving, and respectful care to all children and families. Our patients come from every walk of life, every political belief, and every background, and we are honored to serve each of them with empathy and integrity. In moments of crisis, we believe in unity over division, healing over judgment, and humility over rhetoric. We are taking this matter seriously, reviewing it internally, and have placed the physician on administrative leave." The practice later added, "The individual is no longer employed." All right.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.